Aloha guys, Scuba Chris here. Now these in Hawaii we call whipping rods. Now what are whipping rods? Whipping rods is so we can whip our bait, our lures, our jigs out from shore. So that's why they're called whipping rods. Now we also have what is known as dunking rods, which is basically surf casting rods that we throw our lines with larger baits on for bigger fish. Now, up in the States, especially in the Pacific Northwest, the majority of these rods are known as something else. They're called SST. SST stands for salmon, steelhead, and trout, which is also kokani. But, basically here in Hawaii, anything that you can basically whip anything out is called a whipping rod. Now, my favorite length is 9'9". Now I would say that second, third, fourth, fifth from the right is all 9'9". Actually, the one directly on the right is also 9'9", but it's a hybrid. Let me show you. Okay, that one, that one, that one. That's all 9'9". So is that one. It's shorter, right? This is known as a hybrid. Something new, once I just started entering the rod market. So this is called the hybrid. This is the G series hybrid. And there's a reason why it's called a hybrid, and I'll quickly show you. And the reason why it's called a hybrid is because the smaller piece here, the thinner piece, is smaller, but the thicker piece here is collapsible. See, look, it collapses in on itself. See that? So it actually makes it very short for transportation, which is really good for hiking. I like the hiking to my spots. This is really good. Now, this one here is 9'9" when it's fully extended. So it's pretty much the same stats as you would get with more of the popular 9'9" two-piece rods. So it's 9'9", and let me see. Says here, fast action line class 8 to 17 pound test line, which is standard for most 9'9". Lure weight 3/8 to 1 ounce. Sounds familiar, right? So, but in Hawaii, this would be known as a whipping rod. So there's not much difference. What we call whipping rods in Hawaii will be either an SST or a basic kokani rod for the continental US. Now, I'm fast becoming a fan of this hybrid. I've used it on a number of occasions, and I tell you, when I hooked up with some jacks and barracudas along the shoreline, I mean, I could cast far with this, and it's also because of my reel. This is an Accord 40S. It's a 4,000. Got 10-pound eminent braid on it. This came from Italy. It's from the people over at Olympus SRL. This is a really good reel. Just came out this year, and you're going to be seeing more of this, hopefully in US, but it's very popular up in Europe. To me, the most popular size of these rods are that one, that one, that one. All 9 feet, 9 inches. This is the standard, one of the standards for many serious fishermen up in the Pacific Northwest. Guide Select Pro. The Guide Select Pro is by Okuma. Okuma is known for making some of the best rods around. Use this to target salmon, steelhead, trout, kokani, and mostly be using this as a float style. Float style means is that you put on your cricket, you put on your salmon eggs, you send it down the river creek. You're looking for areas of fast moving water, and you're putting out the line. So basically, you're using it as a float rod. Now this one here, I just put on this beautiful reel here from Olympus. That's the Kratos 4000. There's also 6000. Unreal power in these things. I mean, if you ever had a chance to use them, and it comes with these Gomexa style knobs already on them, fantastic piece of machinery here. So this here, the Guide Select Pro brand, as you can see, the Guide Select Pro, this is probably, I would say, one of the most popular type of rods in existence. They're not inexpensive. I mean, they're not expensive or inexpensive. They're hovering around about 150 to 200 in that range for a good one. I like these, the mediums, the medium light to mediums, around 9 feet 9. If you go less than 9 feet 9, then you're really gonna short yourself, unless if you're gonna be very specific on the type of fish in the areas you're targeting. For this type of size rod, if you want to go light, go with a 3000 spinner. I mean, this is very, very light. The other one there was a 4000. Always good to get away from the paddle wheel type of arms. Like this one here, I put a Gomexus on it. Reason being is because when you use this float fishing style, you're holding on to this because you want a rod that's gonna register the slightest nibble to see if there's something nibbling on your bait. And like I said, normally it's things like insects like crickets or salmon eggs when you're going down the creeks. Here in Hawaii, we're mostly just hoisting them in, but still you want something with a high modulus like this one here. This one has I believe it's the a 40, so you want something that feels the slightest nibble. And that's why the Guide Select Pros are such beautiful rods. It's a good brand. It works very well up in the States. People take very good care of this material because your life depends on it when you're out there. Beautiful carbon wrap. And I tell you, these are super light. It's not the cheapest of rods, but it to me is one of the best you can get out there. And you want something where your hands are wet, that these type of knobs here will benefit you. Those are rated up to only an ounce. This one here is up to 3 ounces. This one here is a C model, a casting model. I put on my my smallest Komodo, the 200. This here is good more for the boats or off piers, but you can still use it for the shoreline, but you're not going to get that faster retrieve as you would with the spinners. So this is pretty much a user specific setup. Now this is an SST. SST stands for Salmon Steelhead Trout. This is a type of Guide Select Pro, but it's not a cheaper brand, but it's the price is not as much. You can get something as beautiful as this for around $100 or slightly less or slightly more. So it tends to be about maybe a third off from what the Guide Select Pros are. But you notice you still got that quality build to it. So this one here is a 10 feet 6 inches. This is kind of like the more of the preferred length. It's a float rod, which means is that it's meant for floating your baits downstream. This is typically what you want to use when you're up in the Pacific Northwest. But here in Hawaii, I bomb with this one. I mean, I put on a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce jig, and I'm bombing 80 plus yards, I'm sure, with this. This is great. And on this one, I chose to go with the Chroma. The Chroma here is one of the newer imports coming in from Olympus SRL from Europe, from Italy. This is a pretty good, I mean, it's a brightly colored reel, but it won't matter to fish, I'm going to see it. But I'm beginning to like this reel. I can see why it's a very popular reel up in the States. But with the SST brand here, if you don't have the available funds to get a Guide Select Pro and you want to get quality, this is it. I've actually have more Guide Select Pros than I do the SSTs. But what I like about the SST, they have more travel rods. So, I have this one here in a 2-piece that's 10'6". I also have a 4-piecer like this. And I take that around with me in the back of my car. So, and when I start traveling more, that will be going with me on my travels. So the SST is kind of like a more price affordable type of Guide Select Pro. There's nothing bad about it, In fact, most times I find myself using the SST more than the Guide Select Pro. And I just wanted to show a quick surprise. This is one of the last of the Rockaways, the Rockaway SP. This was produced by Okuma. John Bretza made this for the sea purchase off the California coast. He made the original Rockaways for the Oregon coastliners for sea perch. And that is also one of the more popular whipping rods for the state of Hawaii. But this one here is very, very lightweight. And the reason why I got this one is I actually got this with the Helios. Now, the reason why I got this one here, yes, beautiful rig. Just look at it, it's been a while. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason I got this one here is because this was meant to be a surf rod, but because if it's a surf rod, you notice that the reel sits much higher. That's for boosting. Okay, it's not meant as a casting spinning rod like the others are. But even though this is a little bit higher on this one, because it's a lighter weight, lighter rating, this makes a great whipping rod slash type of rod that you would use as an SST rod. So I would put this in the ranking of the other rods. So if you're in the mainland, you ever come to Hawaii, and you ask a buddy, hey, can I borrow one of your rods? And he tell you, I'm going to give you a whipping rod. Don't fret over that. Whipping rod is probably something that you're using right now up in the States. What we call whipping rod here is what you call an SST rod where you're from. Thank you.